everyone, and thank you for tuning in to the 47th episode of Wowhead Weekly. We have a ton of stuff to talk about today with upcoming patches and PTR stuff and holiday stuff and time walking and whatnot. So without further ado, I would like to introduce my lovely co-host, Wowhead site manager, Perculia.
Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in and also watching our 3 shows we did for Gamescom last week. We really appreciate the support. And we have even more Gamescom news and all of this patch 6.2.2 PTR goodies like mounts and pets and really cute toys. So, yeah.
So many things. So last week, like you said, we did a bunch of shows last week. We did a show on Thursday, Friday, and Sunday. Busy.
And you also did your quick tips video of like all the important things that were coming.
Too. Yeah, we were busy last week, but it was a good busy. It wasn't like the sky is falling. It was like, well, I guess technically with like, demons invading, the sky is sort of falling.
It's becoming green.
It's getting greener than it is right now. But if you guys are interested and you missed any of those shows, they're all up on YouTube on the Wowhead channel. And we just wanted to touch a little bit on things that we may have not spoken about in those 3 shows. And I think the most interesting little tidbit is that Blizzard said that they purposely gave us less information during the Sunday Q&A or dev chat type show because they don't want to break as many promises as they have, giving out kind of too much information too quickly with previous expansions.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, they teased the artifact and how traits and relics work, but they didn't really dig into extreme details. We didn't have a playable demo of anything. It turns out that the dev chat was incorrectly advertised as a Q&A, and there was some sort of EU-NA miscommunication, but it was never intended to be super in-depth. But I prefer that so we don't hear things like, oh, Karabor would be a really cool capital city, and then it gets ingrained in players' heads, and we never actually get that.
Yeah. I mean, not to name any specific samples, but we would have liked capital cities. Of course, we found out quite a bit about, we didn't find out quite a bit about professions, but we did find out a little bit that was interesting. Professions are pretty much getting a total overhaul in the next expansion. They will not be really anything similar to what they are in Warlords of Draenor right now, which is probably a good thing. They talked about them being more unique to your character and having quests that went along with it and individual recipes and items, and I'm pretty excited about this.
Yeah, they said that they realized that they sort of felt neglected in Warlords and they're trying to give them a lot more love, and they have more devs that are specifically doing professions, and they also want to do a different like UI look, so I guess in professions will be a completely different experience. But yeah, I'm very excited about the quests. I think that will add some more identity back to professions. You've got things like the classes are getting their quests with the artifacts, and professions felt very sort of boring and interchangeable in Warlords, so maybe this can make it more interesting.
Yeah,
hopefully.
Definitely. I mean, we really need it to be more interesting. It's not where it is right now with being able to, herb.
You don't even
garden.
Need the profession.
It takes a lot of the fun out of the game. I would completely agree. So that's not a bad thing. And then I thought this was like another interesting bit of information is they said that rogues are going to have like a piratey, like swashbuckly, arr mateys kind of feel. And I almost wonder, do you think this is to like definitively separate them from demon hunters so that they're not both like, oh, we're agile and we're leather and we
I think that's exactly right. And I think that another layer of that is they keep saying in all these interviews that they feel that rogue specs were very similar and that you couldn't really differentiate them. So like assassination is more of a master of poisons and subtleties going in this ninja stealthy vein. And combat, it's like, okay, what's combat? So combat's going to take on a pirate or swashbuckle type feel, and I guess that's the one that relies less on stealth and is more in your face and smashing things. So, yeah, I mean, I mainly play a combat rogue because I like some angles, but I don't really feel like it's part of my identity that I have this unique playstyle, and there's an order of combat rogues running around like there are for, paladins or whatnot. So it'll be interesting. On one hand, when I think pirate, I think Hearthstone pirates, and they're all humans, and they have funny accents. Mm-hmm. So I don't want it to be a stereotype, but I'll be open. Yeah,
it's weird though because I definitely think of pirate as rogues as being very ninja-like and assassin and like stealthy and almost like muscle for hire, but I don't really think pirate.
I think yard.
Yeah, I mean I just can't imagine like what. how that, because the pirates just seem so silly. They just do with their big hats and their pantaloons and their pirates. And, like, if they don't get, like, a hook hand, like, I'm just done. Because that would be such a hilarious rogue thing, you know? Like, going in there, you don't need a weapon. You just had both of your hands replaced with hooks.
Your artifact is a hook.
That would be so great and weird simultaneously.
Yeah.
Now, they also touched a bit on flying in, like, 7.0 or when Legion launches. And it's definitely not going to be available at the time of launch. But they did say they're going to have something similar to Draenor Pathfinder in Legion. So you will be able to fly eventually. How far out eventually is there's a lot of room for
they did say that you could start the process in 7.0, but they didn't state if it was going to be like, you know, extending over a patch or 2 patches or whatnot.
Well, I mean, to be fair, if Draenor Pathfinder was in the game at launch, you could have started it then anyways because of Lore Master and exploration and stuff like that. So that's not really saying too much. They also confirmed that because of the Demon Hunter being added, we are getting a 12th character slot. And I do want to apologize. I made a comment in one of the shows that it wasn't a big deal. We didn't need a 12th character slot because I genuinely did not realize that there are some very high population full servers that never got merged. So they really like only Arthas. They only have 11 character slots, not 22 like the rest of us virtually. So my bad, guys. I really didn't know that, and I'm sorry if I like upset anybody. I really am. I had no idea, and somebody brought it to my attention, and I like retweeted it because I don't know. I make mistakes sometimes. It happens. They also talked about there being like free for all PvP in the Dalaran sewers, which is weird because isn't that where rogues are going to live? I mean, poor rogues. They're just going to be like outcast, sewery pirates stuck in a war zone in the...
Yeah, some more details on the sewers. So there's going to be a version of Dalaran that's still in Northrend that's like basically unchanged. And that's, so, you know, if you're level 70 and you're questing, you have Dalaran and Northrend. But then there's going to be another version in the Broken Isles, which is going to serve as the Legion capital city. And they're going to be making some changes to that. So there's going to be the sewers that has the PvP area, which kind of makes sense because you already have the Dalaran arena and you can buy some PvP gear down there. Mm-hmm. And Watcher Dev and Celestalon had this back and forth talking about how it was meant to be like a ninja hideaway, like hidden in Dalaran, and that sewers was a poor choice because people are like, ew, sewers. And some people made points that Ravenholt was like destroyed, you know, left in pretty bad shape after the legendary questline for Fangs of the Father, so it's not just this gorgeous mansion there. But I do still think that if there's any sort of class order, that Ravenholt should be part of it somehow, whether it's we'd rather be in Ravenholt and here's this daily quest to get materials to rebuild it, or
even if it was broken, maybe there could be a basement or something that people, you know, maybe didn't know about, like it's hidden. It just seems, I feel like it's weird that they're referring to rogues as both pirates and ninjas.
I know, I'm peculiar champion, pirate champion of the sewers.
It's just such an odd thing. They're like, oh, it's like the ninja underbelly. Like ninjas and pirates are like mortal enemies. Like you can't be a pirate and a ninja. That's a thing. That's a thing. They also talked about clarification of the timeline. Of course, right now in Warlords of Draenor, we are doing wibbly wobbly, timey-wimey things. We are in the past. There's some weird things going on with like adult Thrall and adult Duratan, and like things are weird. But once we get into Legion, we will be back into the current timeline where I guess Cataclysm would have, Mists of Pandaria would have left off. I just skipped a whole expansion there in my mind.
Yeah, and the Draenor NPCs, they're going to be rebuilding Draenor because apparently there's a lot of problems going on, so they will not be joining us to fight the Legion. But who knows, maybe there will be twists, but Rel and sort of all the characters in that end cinematic and all the problems caused by the orcs, they're just
weird though, because why?
I agree.
It's weird. I mean, we built a relationship with a few characters, so it's
like what happens to my garrison? I'm just like, peace. One of you gets to lead the garrison, and I'll just abandon you here.
Yeah, it's really, really bizarre. We also talked a little bit about the collector's edition items, which we're going to show you in a little while. The collector's editions items are awesome. It's a it's like a Fellhound mount and a Fellhound pet, very different from anything that we have in the game right now. Really, really cool. We also found out that it is definitively a level 100 boost, correct?
Yeah, there are strings in the 6.2.2 PTR talking about the level 100 boost. Like, you know, if you're buying something on the in-game shop, when you buy that level 90 boost, there's a string being like, congrats on your level 90 boost. And now there's like a shop icon and an option to purchase the boost, and it's tied to Legion. And we also found a bunch of gear that the boosted characters are most likely going to wear because it has the same names as the other boosted gear, but the item level is higher.
But the item level is higher. So, and with that is a good transition to talk a little bit about the Wowhead Legion guide. If you're interested in anything that is happening in Legion, you can go to wowhead.com/Legion, or it's right at the top of the front page. And there's an artifact guide, there's a demon hunter guide, there's pretty much everything that we know about Legion just compiled into one
we have a
place.
bunch of like all the high-res images we ripped from the YouTube version of the stream. We have all the press images, we rounded up all the interviews and we've got them linked, and we also organized all the information by topic. So instead of being like 70% of the information's in the live blog and like 10% in an interview and 5% in a dev talk, we just took all that and pieced it together by topic.
So a minute ago we were talking about some mounts that were coming up, and we got some very exciting things going on this week. When the 6.2.2 PTR started, we got all sorts of previews, including these awesome guys. Look, it's the moose!
So cool.
It's the Grove Warden. He's going to be a shop mount. This is the Illidari Fellstalker and the pet that we were talking about just a moment ago. This is the Heavenly Azure Cloud Serpent, which is a reward for 300 mounts. And this is the minion of Grampus, which is a Winter Veil reward. He's so cool. So I'll let these scroll through while we talk about him a little bit. Like we said, the moose is called the Grove Warden. He's going to be from the shop. And this is kind of a throwback to a Ghostcrawler joke, because Ghostcrawler promised us a moose back in like 2010. And
there's a picture of some guy in a crowd holding up a gigantic board being like, Ghostcrawler promised me a moose. Yeah. So he actually changed his Twitter avatar to a moose being like, hey,
pretty great.
We finally delivered on it years later.
So, and then the Reigns of the Illidari Fellstalker are pretty amazing. I love that they're blind and it's very like Demon Hunter-esque. Pretty cool. And it's like the pet and then the matching, or the mount and then the matching little pet. Then the Heavenly Azure Cloud Serpent is for the achievement Lord of the Rains. Cute little name there. And that is 300 mounts, which is so many. And this mount has been in the game for a while, right? And it
was in Mr. Pandaria's beta, and they just pulled it. They're like, hey, this is cool and unused, let's use it. So it's kind of like the reward for 250 mounts. That was in Since Firelands, and they just dug that up out of the client and was like, oh yeah, here's a cool recolor. Let's put it in the game
super
3 years
sparkly.
later.
It's really pretty.
Yeah,
And then
I really
also
like it.
The minion of Grampus is awesome. He's got kind of like this Yeti sort of thing, which right now I think the only Yeti mount is for challenge modes.
Exactly.
So I really hope I get him. He's really cool. I was hoping he would be green. I mean,
I thought he had like little lights on his horns or something.
Oh, I know. I wish he would have been a tiny bit more festive. Like, I would have been really happy if he was green like the Grinch, but that's okay. They also changed some things. Like, right now, there's all those items that you can use to make you really, really big, and they have capped the maximum size of mounts to 150% of their base size, because it's just getting ridiculous.
Yep, I totally agree with that.
And then they made some changes to the Thundering Ruby Cloud Serpent. Yeah. You want to talk a little about that?
That's the mount from Milani, and you need to get the Sky Shards from Veil of Eternal Blossoms, and when you get 10, you weaken the rare, and then you kill them, and then you loot the mount. And it required Exalted with the August Celestials, and, newer players, they're not going to grind out all that rep, and that takes a while to get, so the requirement is being removed, which is good news. So
it's weird. Cool. It's weird for me though, because I don't know, when it comes to mounts, I mean, they're almost always behind a rep grind, and the excuse newer players won't do that. Well, tough for them. I don't know. I think removing rep from mounts is weird.
I mean, I can see maybe if you have people that are hardcore farming them and they want to sell the mount tag to other people.
Yeah.
And someone wants to buy it and they don't have the rep, and that's kind of useless.
That's a good point. Maybe it's one that shouldn't have been gated behind rep in the first place, since there's
such a long
items.
Grind with the Sky Shards.
Yeah. All right, I concede. You're right. Rep grind shouldn't be there. Also, in other exciting news involving mounts and pets and things that perk like, we found out some new pets on the PTR, and they are... Oh, no. I skipped a whole segment.
We should go back to mounts.
We should go back to mounts. They also showed us some previews of time walking mounts, which is good timing since this weekend is time walking. The Eclipse Dragonhawk is for Burning Crusade time walking, and the Bridle of the Ironbound Wrath Charger is for Wrath of the Lich King time walking. How do they work, Perk?
So right now you get these things called time warp badges, which we'll talk about in the time walking section of the show. But basically, you get these badges when you kill bosses during time walking, and you turn them into special vendors. There's one up for Burning Crusade, one up for Wrath. And right now on the PTR, they cost 50,000 badges each, but that's really subject to change because the PTR has been up for like 3 days. And yeah, they're just new kind of cool mounts. The Burning Crusade one looks like the Dragonhawks in Shadow Moon Valley that were apparently really good hunter pets. Mm-hmm. And Eclipse refers to the Eclipse Point that's part of like some really big Shadow Moon Valley lore quest. Mm-hmm. And the Ironbound Wraith charge is really interesting because if any of you were playing during Mists, Blizzard was talking about adding more things to the shop, like a seesaw thing and the transmog helms and something that could temporarily transform mounts. And they never made it to the shop, but they actually just took that mount and reused it a few years later for this. So I'm really happy because I prefer a permanent mount that I can grind in game versus a temporary weird shop mount.
Yeah, it's also interesting to hear about a mount with kind of a really unique, I hate saying things like that, with a unique appearance that that was going to be a shop mount and now it's not. Well, it wasn't going to be a shop mount, it was going to be a vanity thing, but it's still, you don't see that very often. Usually we get things like the Mystic Rune Saber and the Moose and like all these things that only have one appearance and that's it. And it's cool that they have this just really striking mount that doesn't look like anything else, and they added it in game, and it's pretty hefty grind.
Yeah.
Rather than having people pay real money for it. But earlier I got ahead of myself, and now we're there.
Yay, pets.
So yay, pets. We got some really cool models and images this week. This is Mercadin. He is the BlizzCon 2015 reward. This is Bright Paw. It's like a new shop pet, like the baby Mystic Rune Saber. This is Nibbles, again, which is the Collector's Edition pet. And last is Zeradar, which is the Legacy of the Void Collector's Edition pet. And he's awesome. So yeah, these pets are all amazing. And I don't even know how to function like seeing all of them because they're all amazing.
Yeah, Mercadin is really cute because he had, like, every BlizzCon pet is a Murloc that's tied to a new game or an expansion release. Yeah. And he has really cool Illidan-themed abilities like Morphosis and I-Beam. Mm-hmm. So that is super adorable.
He's got little glaives.
Yeah, it's so cute. And I like how the Mystic Rune Saber now has a matching pet. I like when you can match everything up. I know some people are really big on having their pet match their mount, match their transmog, and even their hunter pet if they have one. So that's cute that you've got a family with that. And I forget the exact names, but Zeradar has really cool StarCraft-themed abilities, too, that are pretty unique. So yeah, that's pretty cool.
He's really cool, too. I love all the throws to other, like when they did the collector's edition of, oh great, now I can't remember the Zerg-themed expansion, but they gave you a little Baneling pet, so cute.
Yeah.
And they had the Murloc that looked like Jim Raynor. I love all the throws to like other games, so I'm excited to have. I'll buy the stupid Legacy of the Void Collector's Edition. I'm such a sucker.
Yeah, I want to just go buy the whole StarCraft thing where you get all the collector's editions digitally because then I get all the old pets. Yeah, and I did not have a lot of money when the first StarCraft expansion came out back in like Wrath. So I should get this pet now.
Yeah, I wonder, can you just upgrade though, or do you have to buy like the whole game again? Because I have all of them, so it's like gonna be hard to justify just one.
Yeah, I don't know.
That was the mini Thor, right? That was the mini.
The mini Thor. It would like fly up into the air, and it would fight with the Murlocs, I think.
It was amazing. It was amazing. I don't know. I have to think about it. We also found out some pets that are coming up for holidays. The Ghastly Rat, the Ghost Maggot, and the Spectral Spinner, which is obviously a spider, are all new Hollow's End pets. There's also going to be the Grumpling, who is a Wintervale pet, who I assume is like a little Yeti, like a little version of that mount, which we were just talking about. It'll be so amazing if you get the pet and the mount. I hope that the mount isn't a drop. I hope it's a grind. I hope it's not like the big love rocket. The big love rocket is the bane of my existence.
I am sad.
I've seen like 2 people have it ever. Like the Headless Horseman mount, I've seen a lot of people have, and you know the Brewfest mounts and stuff. But I don't know what it is. That Swift Love Rocket, it does not exist. Doesn't exist.
I know.
Patch it into the game, Blizzard, because you forgot to. It's not there. There's also a bunch of new cool toys coming. The inflatable Thunder Fury, which is hysterical.
I do not know how to get the one yet, but it sounds amazing.
Yeah. It almost
sounds like
reminds
it's
me
going to
of
be a foam sword.
Yeah,
but, like,
I was thinking the same thing,
Fury.
like foam. So I wonder if it'll be fightable with a foam sword.
Maybe
you know?
it'll be like pink or something. There's also a related achievement being like, did someone say ... and obtained the inflatable Thunder Fury.
That's amazing. There's also the Crashin' Thrashin' Flame Controller, which is the 2015 Winter Veil toy. So I assume it's just a hopped up version, a hot rod version of the Crashin' Thrashin' Racer. There's actually 5 new total Crashin' Thrashin' toys. 3 are from rares in flying only areas in Tanan, and 2 are from Winter Veil, which is cool. We've been saying this the whole time. I love that they're not just like, you know, essentially flipping a switch with flying. They're adding all these thoughtful things in, like, oh, here's an area you couldn't access before. Have some free stuff.
I think it's pretty funny because we covered in a previous show the eastern area of Tanan and how you could go beyond the Dark Portal and see the level 90 area again. And they didn't drop anything. And I just think it's funny that the mobs that stayed behind by the Dark Portal have these toys that they're holding on to and just sort of playing with, you know, in the next few patches.
Oh, there's also the Mark of the Ash Tongue, which went up after I set this video up, but it's super cool. It's one of those, like, what are they called? What are those guys called? They're so ugly. Yeah, the broken guys.
Yeah, it's like the not the corrupted Draenei, but it's like a Kama's tribe.
Yeah, they've
and the
got
ones
like
you
a
see
flat
in
face.
and Zangarmar.
And they're kind of
like
like
the weird tentacles.
Yeah, they're ugly and awesome, and now you can be one if you want.
Yeah, and you could temporarily be one when you were working on your Black Temple attunement quest line. There was one where you had to disguise yourself as one and go kill some bosses.
Mm-hmm.
And people really liked holding on to that. So it's cool that they realized that players, you know, really wanted this item and to make it be permanent, and now you can get that.
Yeah. Do you want to talk a little bit about the Hourglass of Eternity?
Yeah. So the Hourglass of Eternity is another item that, another toy that's tied to time walking. And there was this quest in Dragonblight where you went to like the Bronze Dragonflight area, and there was this item that summoned future you, and then you would fight future you. And it was the Mystery of the Infinite quest. So it looks like, based on the spell data, that the Hourglass will summon a duplicate of yourself, which sounds pretty cool. Like, that quest, it just is really cool if there's an exact copy of you following you around.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, that's what the world needs, is 2 Panzers. Oh, God. There's also the Will of Northrend, which is the Deathbringer will disguise. Now, do we know how to get that?
That's probably another Time Walking Wrath item, but because it's Burning Crusade this weekend, the Wrath ones aren't available. But
Gotcha.
I think it's you're gonna get like the cool Vrykul disguise or the Tonka or the Iron Dwarf. Like, there's a really overpowered trinket in Ice Crown, and based on what stat proc you would get, you would transform into something else. So they replicated that cool cosmetic angle.
I would love to turn into a Vykril or a Vikril. I would love that. They're amazing. They're all blue, and that would be so cool. I love Tonka too. I've always said, like, I thought that like a Tauren customization could be Tonka, because they're really similar. Cool. They're like cousins. They're not a completely different race. Well, and I mean, it doesn't even seem like Tonka have females. They just have female Taurens. Right. Then there's also the Sack of Spectral Spiders, which is a Hollow's End toy. I would assume that this just releases like so many spider babies, and I just get grossed out thinking about it. I had to kill a spider yesterday, and I'm so dumb. I made the worst mistake. I see it, and it's on the ceiling. It's big. I mean, this guy could have fit on like a quarter, and I was like, all right, don't freak out. It's 4 a.m. You don't need to freak out. So I like tried to hairspray him off the ceiling because I can't reach. And he falls, and then of course I'm panicking because he's now there in front of me.
He's now closer to you.
Why the nearest thing to me was a can of air, you know, like you blow your keyboard out with. But I was like, oh, it'll freeze him. This is such a great idea. No, it blew him, and it took me like 10 minutes to find. It was awful.
Oh no,
it was. I don't need these things in my life. It was really bad. But probably the best, really most clever toy that was announced, well, not announced, but that you found on the PTR was the Coin of Many Faces, which is a Game of Thrones reference from Hollow's End, and it makes you turn into someone else, right?
Yeah, it's on a day cooldown, and we don't exactly know what the transformation is, but we do know that there's some sort of disguise involved, and it's on a super long cooldown.
Yeah, doesn't it have cute flavor text too?
Yeah. It's and of course everyone's just like, oh, Valor Morghulis, whenever you link the item.
It's really great. I'm super excited. I have to get that. And it's funny, I was telling Perk last night, like, I'm really bummed there's all these great Hollow's End things coming, and, like, BlizzCon is, like, smack dab in the middle of Hollow's End. So, like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I think I'm gonna go, like, stand in line at BlizzCon and, like, just hold up one of the computers for, like, an obscene amount of time. Like, no, like, oh, are you playing the beta? No, I'm doing my Hollow's End quest.
Exactly.
Like, I have to get the coin of many faces. Like, you don't get it. There's also a new item in the Dark Moon Fair called the Dark Moon Seesaw. Now, is this, like, one of the items like the carousel that'll give you XP, or do we not know that yet? Is it just a fun thing?
We don't know. It used, like, but with that old store blog I mentioned, they were previewing a seesaw that maybe would be part of the in-game shop, but that never happened.
Oh, so it's a toy.
They seem to have reused that. Yeah, it's some sort of
I hope they don't
like
do the thing.
Like an ogre.
I hope they don't do the thing where they make it not usable in Raid. They did that with the piñata recently, and I have beef with it because when else would you use the piñata except in between pulls on your Raid?
Yeah, loot piñata. Yeah.
Yeah. And then my face for you,
we'll
Blizzard.
See.
That was really upsetting when I found that out. There's also the Red Wooden Sled, which is a Winter Veil toy, and it'll allow you'll use the toy, and then your pet will be on the sled, and then you can drag your pet around on the sled.
Yeah, that sounds pretty cute.
So adorable. I can't wait to do, like, a really dumb pet, though. Like, you can only use battle pets. You can't use, like, unfortunately, Blorp is not eligible for this, but just, like, a really silly pet.
I want to take a pet and use the biscuit on it so it's bigger and then put it on the sled.
Yes, and I love the pets that are already kind of big. Like, I don't know if you have the giraffe, but the giraffe is huge when you use the biscuit on it. That'll be great. The Throbbing Blood Orb and the Cursed Feather are now toys on the PTR, which is super cool and surprising because I feel like they made a statement about the Cursed Blood Orb and how it changed combat and that it couldn't ever be a toy because it did all these things. But just kidding.
Oh, well.
JK. There's also a new reward for 200 toys and a special title that's Crashin' Thrashin'. So I would be Crashin' Thrashin' Panzer Shock.
Yeah, I know work towards that. I got the 151 kind of recently, so I'm going to start calculating things and seeing what toys
I'm nowhere near 100. I'm nowhere near 150. You are so much more dedicated than me. I keep finding myself going back and getting, like, easy toys because I never got toys in Pandaria because we didn't have a toy box. And, like, bank space has been a problem for a while. So only recently have I been going back and getting stuff. But can we talk about Hollow's End? Because I'm really
I'm very excited
really
about these holiday
Hollow's
updates.
End. Yeah. So, okay. You talk about the first few things, and then I'll freak out about the last thing, and then we'll all talk together.
Okay. So, last year we had the Arthas costume disguise, which you could purchase, and it just sort of turned you into Arthas, and there was 50 charges. And we have 2 more disguises data mined. There's one for Edwin Van Cleef, and there's one for Deathwing, and that sounds super cool. We found new wands. There is a white wand, a gargoyle, and an Erubian wand, so more cool things you can turn your friends into. There are the 3 new pets and 2 new toys described earlier. And was this the thing we both wanted to
this is the thing. This is the thing. So, like, a while back, Perk and I were talking about, like, speculation of things that they should do that would make, like, just little things like holidays better. And one of the things that we said was garrison decorations. And that's a thing now, guys.
Yeah,
that
is definitely a thing.
It's a thing now, and it's really, really exciting, and I am pumped about it. There's going to be garrison decorations that's going to make your guards festive. For Hollow's End, there's going to be pumpkins. There's going to be, like, Arakoa ghosts. There's going to be a Pandaren brew witch. There's going to be creepy bugs all over your garrison. I do not want the creepy bugs. I'm okay with it. There's also going to be currency to buy these decorations from the holiday dailies.
Which reminds me of my April Fool's joke. I had the Martha Stewart and it had the tokens, and you got the tokens by doing a daily or something.
Amazing. And then also tied to Hollow's End is a new Pepe costume. It's Scare Pepe.
It's so cute. So we don't know how to get Pepe yet, but we don't know how to get him, but there's an achievement for finding Pepe as a scarecrow, and that achievement is tagged as Hollow's End.
Yeah,
so that's how we know where it's from.
Someday they'll add the hide and go seek Pepe games into WoW. Someday.
And I want to touch a little bit on the speculation about the garrison decorations.
Okay.
So my speculation is that they're just not decorations, but they summon or they're tied to unique things, and that's how you get some of the new pets and toys and items. Because, like, there's this decoration that's about the Pandaren Brewwitch, and then there's a consumable called the Mysterious Brew that adds these elemental suds to the character. So it sounds like, maybe if the decorations summon the Brewwitch, that they sell this brew. Or there's a creepy Garrison box that says it unleashes spiders, and it's like, oh, that sounds like the toy that unleashes spiders. So maybe it's a way that if you do these dailies and you get decorations or an NPC to appear in your garrison, then you can advertise to your friends, hey, the Brewwitch is up, come get your whatever item if you need it, and then that's more social.
I'm excited.
That's my theory.
It's a pretty good theory.
I have no idea.
I think it's a solid theory. We also found out some similar things about Wintervale. There's the new Thrashin Flamer controller, which we talked about a little earlier. There's a snowblower toy, which creates a snowman, which is adorable. There's a new Winter's Grasp weapon illusion, which is really interesting because I think we were recently complaining that enchanters haven't gotten any love lately.
Yeah.
There's also a Merry Munchkin costume, which is for your pug. I think it's like a little elf costume.
Yeah, he's gotten a lot of disguises. I love how they keep it's a thing now. Like, Christo was this pug around Stormwind, and then he became really like hostile on level 100 and elite, and now he has all these costumes, and they keep adding them.
So ridiculous. There's also a new food item, a consumable called Fizzy Apple Cider, which will increase your gathering rate for things like herbalism and mining. Ew. I just saw there's also a yellow snowball and a savage snowball. That's nasty.
The savage one has a rock in it.
Oh my god, that's so rude.
I know. They both sound equally awful.
I don't want either of those. There's also the new mount, which we talked about, the Grampus, the pet, which is the little Grampling, and the sled that we talked about earlier, and garrison decorations for Wintervale, which is so exciting because you get lights and wreaths and trees and a little Wintervale helper, and your guards are festive, and there's mistletoe, and again, you use currency to get these, and my garrison is going to be festive as F. Let me tell you, I will go back in Legion to hang out in my garrison at Christmas time. I will do it.
Yeah, I want my Garrett followers, like, oh, you guys don't have to go on missions, take the day off, wear these ugly sweaters, like, put up some mistletoe.
Oh my gosh, I hope they do this for class halls too. Since they've implemented it for garrisons, I hope they do it for class halls, because that would be even more fun, because then it's
that would be a good reuse of garrison tech.
Yeah, see? Listen to us, Blizzard. We have great ideas. We also found out a little bit about WoW's 11th anniversary. There's going to be wands that everybody's given that let you turn other players into a Gnoll or a Murloc.
Yeah, so we could tell that they weren't Halloween wands because they weren't called, like, they had a different name. They were specifically called Celebration Wands. And we also saw a Celebration package that was tied to the 11th anniversary in the data. So that's pretty exciting, too.
Makes sense. I keep those wands forever. Like, I still have a bunch of the Halloween ones, just in case I ever need to, turn someone into a bunny or a wisp. Then I'm sure that you want to talk about this, so I'll flip it over to you to talk about
this is the really
time
exciting
walking.
Part. So it's the time walking weekend on live, which we'll get to in a minute. But on the 6.2.2 PTR, Blizzard decided that the time walking rewards were not enticing enough. And because you might be running these for the nostalgia factor, they added in all of these nostalgia rewards to get you to keep running them, and all these cute things those sorts of players might want to collect. So we've got the Eclipse Dragonhawk mount for the Burning Crusade time walking, and the bridle of the Ironbound Wraith Charger that we mentioned for Wrath. We've also got the Ashtongue toy we mentioned. We've got the Hourglass toy. There's this really cool Timeless Mirror, which we're not exactly sure what it does, but it apparently will phase you between Outland and Draenor. So I sort of get the impression that you'll, like, go between both realities and be like, oh, I'm in this area and it's similar-ish, and I can phase to another one. So really excited to grind that out. And what's also really cool is that they brought back a bunch of items from Burning Crusade dailies that had cool things. Like, you can spend these badges on the bag of fishing treasures, which can contain a crocodile pet, or a barrel of fish, which has unique cooking recipes, like the delicious chocolate cake. And there's also badge gear, which is super cool because these are the popular items you could buy with Justice Points back in the day. And they have really cool transmog models. And now you can buy them with badges, and if they scale up to your current level, so level 100 player would get eye level 675 loot. And they look really cool. It's all like, they were like as good as raid gear at the current time.
Yeah.
So people have good memories of those.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it was important. You were expected to do your dungeons
Yeah.
every day so that you could get badge gear. It was like, you raided, but then you also did this, and like you were definitely on the verge of being benched if you weren't doing that extra stuff as well, because it really put you ahead of the curve, which I personally liked. And they carried that over into Wrath of the Lich King in a little more intense way, but it was a really popular expansion, so maybe that wasn't a bad thing.
And there's also a few more things in there, too. There's some heirloom upgrades and reputation tokens where you get 500 rep per token, and they are BOA, so if you want to get more factions for, like, the Exalted or the Beloved, or the Cenarian Expedition has a cool mount, that should make things a little bit easier, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's nice. This weekend is BC time walking, right?
Yeah. So that's how we could test it on the PTR, and I want that to be on live because I'm like, all right, let's get all these cool items. Oh, I can't right now.
I can't right now. Yeah. So that's going to be live through the 17th. If you do your quest and you complete 5 time walking dungeons, you will get a piece of normal Hellfire Citadel loot and a bonus seal, which I really wish that they would do that piece of gear based on your current progression, because somebody who's just doing like LFR or isn't really rating at all, that's a huge piece of awesome gear. But for someone like me, like I don't need any.
That's why you're meant to get your time walking rewards. And one more thing on the time walking rewards, the currency name is a Time Warp badge, and it has the same icon as Justice points.
Oh, that's great.
So it's like nostalgia throwback.
I love that. I love that. But I'm super excited about the bonus seal always, because it's nice to have that extra roll.
Yeah.
Time walking dungeon bosses will drop eye level 660 to 675 loot, depending if you're lucky enough to get a Warforged piece. You can also get reputation with the instances like the Cenarian Expedition, which has a mount and a title. Anyone over 71 can participate in time walking, and the gear is scaled down to level 95. Now, what's cool about this is, remember, you can use your old legendary items and your really cool like perk Hazard Glaive still. So you can go
like your
all
actual
out.
Tier gear from Burning Crusade. Like all that's really good in there.
Yeah. So if you have any of that stuff sitting in your bank or your void storage and you want to use it, now is a great time to do so.
Exactly.
Of course, in other news, LFR, the Destructor's Rise, came out this week. That's Fel Lord Zakun Zul-Harak, who drops the LFR proprietary, I guess, like tier boots. Manaroth drops the my dog's going ballistic in the background. I'm sorry.
I hear him.
No, you can see him. He's like throwing.
He's very
the toy
excited
for
about
himself.
LFR.
I don't even know, apparently. Oh, geez. Manaroth drops the tier shoulders, and you will need an eye level of 650 or higher to get into LFR. But if you're concerned about that, don't worry. You can get that into Nan very, very quickly.
Yeah. Also PvP, like honor gear is 670. So
yep. And also, if you are working on your legendary quest, you will be able to get your tomes out of LFR if you need them still, which I do. I still need like 6 more. I have such bad luck when it comes to that. And of course, Wowhead has guides for all of the things. If you need any help with any of the bosses or what you're doing as far as like DPS or healing or tanking. And Archimonde opens on August 25th. It seems like the raid just came out. I can't believe Archimonde's already in LFR.
Yeah.
Like, I know it's been like 8 weeks, but...
Yeah. Also, one thing, on LFR, you can get all the legendary items, but the items to upgrade your final ring to item level 795 are not in LFR.
Yeah.
They are on normal, heroic, and mythic only.
Yeah.
So,
but if you are working on that, I mean, this is just from personal experience, really good guilds, like mythic, like end, like people who are downing consistently heroic Archimonde, and people who are like downing mythic bosses in Hellfire Citadel, almost every Tuesday, if you open up your group finder, you will, if you need a carry, that's a great day to do it. So check it out.
One more note about Mythic, on the Mythic end of things, we have several more guides by Method up on Comrock, Hellfire High Council, and Kilrog Deadeye. We have their video guides up now. They're not just kill videos, they narrate all the different roles and what they should be doing. So they're up on the site now. We have written guides for them, and more still to come, so that's very exciting. If LFR isn't your thing and Mythic is, we've got you covered there as well.
And of course, our video went up this week. It was so exciting. Yeah. Blizzard did a blog on Draenor Pathfinder and was kind enough to feature our video, which we were really, really excited about. Draenor Pathfinder has officially been confirmed for patch 6.2.2, and I can't wait. I've been ready since, like, it's been a while. The Saber Stalkers was the last thing I needed, and I've been done for that for a while now, so... You know, I'm really ready to go, just sort of bring it on. I know there was some confusion about what sort of happened to 6.2.1, and they justified it by saying that some things like the Legion pre-order and the collector's editions and the strings talking about the 100 boost, they couldn't just stick in the PTR build in advance, because obviously you'd all know what the expansion was. So when they added all that stuff in, it rolled over from 0.1 to 0.2. Yeah. So is there a 0.1?
No, it just sort of... Yeah, that never went live. Which is fine.
I know... I saw a lot of people that were like, oh, it got delayed to 6.2.2, but really there just wasn't a 6.2.1.
Yeah, I mean, I think people are concerned that flying was promised in weeks, not months. So when they see 6.2.2 and they see, like, all these new items, it can seem like the patch is huge and people are wondering if flying is getting delayed more. But things like adding a time walking item, like once you create the item, it exists. You don't really need to test the item.
Yeah, there's not really a whole lot that they're adding. Flying is definitely the big thing in mercenary
there's like no
mode.
Spell changes, like there's no class changes in this patch, there's no gear, there's no raid.
Yeah.
It's just like a bunch of cool items here and there.
Yeah, which I am all for. If you guys are still working on your Draenor Pathfinder achievement, you can go to wowhead.com/flying. There's a very useful tool. You just put in your name and your realm, and it'll show you your progress so far with links right next to each section of guides if you aren't at 100% yet. And also, if you want to...
we also have... we also have a guide to stuff that's easier to do in Draenor once there's flying. Mm-hmm. So if you're, like, totally bored and you're like, flying won't change anything, you might want to take another look, because archaeology is way easier. Getting around to pet battles is a lot easier. Mm-hmm. If you're looking for a rare and you're always in the wrong area, you can fly to it now. So, yeah, all of that's super cool. And I just wanted to echo you and say that, like, it's really super cool and awesome of Blizzard to feature our stuff, because... You know, we worked really hard on that flying video. We got the guide up super fast. The developers got their flying tool up super fast when we knew the announcement. So it's really nice to, to have Blizzard recognize all the hard work we've been doing to help players get their flying achievement.
Yeah, we were saying earlier how busy we were with all the things that we did last week. I did the flying video last week, too. Like, it was crazy. Like, last week was insane. I don't think I slept last week, but that's okay. That's okay. I'm one of those people that I find a lot of, I guess, joy in just, like, accomplishing things, Like, I feel really happy when I finish a video, or when we're done live streaming and everybody, like, had fun and enjoyed it. So it was really busy and stressful at the time, but looking back, it feels really good. So
yeah, like, I felt really good doing the PTR stuff, being like, oh, here's this mess of data, and I, like, found a really cool fact in it, and I'm going to stay up and write this big time walking blog at like midnight or 1 a.m. just because it's really cool and I want to post all this really fast.
And to most people that doesn't sound that late, but Perk just moved to the West Coast from the East Coast, so in her brain, that's like 4 a.m.
Yeah, I'm still waking up super early because a lot of Blizzard announcements are at 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. my time, and I can't just be waking up at 9 a.m. and being like, huh? Oh, the major news for the day. Like,
what's going on?
I need to get stuff done.
No, I'm convinced you don't sleep. Like, it doesn't matter what time I message you, you are awake. Like, I don't understand it. Like, do you run on batteries? Because that's the only way I can explain how you're just always awake all the time. Or maybe you just wake up. I don't know.
Well, like, we usually talk about work things, and like you were saying, like, we get super excited about doing a good job with things. So when you usually message me about doing a work thing where I'm very, like, hyped up and you're like, let's talk about, like, WoW again.
We do. We get super excited. It's been a blast doing those videos with you too. I mean, it's been my real first experience kind of collaborating in that way, and it's very interesting because Perk and I, like, really do, like, we write the scripts and stuff together, like, and I've never really, like, had another person's input on it, but it's been It's been great, and it's been really helpful.
Aww,
and
thank you.
It's a lot of feelings. But if anybody has any questions in the Twitch chat, now is a good time to ask. I'm going to talk a little bit while this catches up and you guys ask some questions. Of course, you can always, if you enjoy the show and you like to watch it, of course, we stream it live at 6 p.m. Eastern Time here at twitch.tv/wowhead, and the VOD goes up the next day. If you want to support the show or you want to make sure you never miss it, you can click that follow button. And if you really, really want to support the show and use our awesome icons, our emotes that can be used on any Twitch channel ever. We have Pepe and the little rocket right now. I am pushing for our next, I haven't even told you this yet, but I'm pushing for our next Twitch emote to be the little Legion rocket because it's so cute. I'm just bringing that on,
a new emote. Awesome.
Yeah, we should be getting a new one soon. So I'm really excited about that. If you want to subscribe, it helps out the show. And also, if you just like Wowhead in general and you're a big fan and also you hate ads, you can subscribe to Wowhead Premium, which will remove all ads from the site. It'll also allow you to customize your Today in Draenor tab. It'll allow you to set notifications. Yep, for quests.
If you're like, this quest is, I need this, like, and it just like appears at the top.
It'll tell you right at the top. It's super nice. Yeah. And you'll get like special colors when you type, and there's all sorts of perks. Plus, it helps out the site a lot. So those are the things. And it says, at Wowhead, do we get free 90s or with 100s with the pre-order? I believe it's going to work the same way that Draenor did, where you can pay like $10 more to get the boost, right?
The boost was baked into the pre-order, I believe.
Oh,
like, that's why people were, they're like, at least for Draenor, the expansion had an increased price, and it was justified that you get the boost with the pre-order.
Gotcha.
But yeah, like, let me pull up the strings right now. Like, they explicitly say, like, and congrats on your level 100 boost with the pre-order of Legion.
Yeah, and it will be a level 100 boost. Right now it's 90, but once that pre-order goes live, you will get a free 100, which is crazy. I have no idea what I'm going to do. I'm thinking about boosting an Alliance Shaman so that, like, if I want to play with my Alliance friends, it's not, like, a big shock of, like, oh, I'm Alliance, things are so different, and also, what the heck am I, you know? That should be fun. We had another question from Dream Zones that says, do you know if there will actually be a South Seas expansion? There was mention of us drowning Queen Ajara during the upcoming expansion. Downing, not drowning. Jeez. South Seas drowning. There's going to be the Emerald Nightmare. Is she in the Emerald Nightmare? No, she's in Ajuna, right?
Yeah, she's in the Eye of Ashara, which is a subset of Azuna, which is one of the leveling zones. And in there, you deal with the minions and her Naga subjects, and she has one of the pillars, so it's like a race to get it before she does something terrible with it.
Gotcha. So it doesn't sound like, I mean, we obviously have no information of expansions, certainly none beyond Legion. So can't say, but we do know that Ajara will be a player in this expansion. And while we're not getting the Emerald Dream, we are getting the Emerald Nightmare, which is pretty cool. And the next question says, with Blizzard putting all their eggs in one basket with Illidan and Ajara and the Burning Legion with the Emerald Nightmare, how many expansions are left? Not information that we have.
Yeah, I mean, they keep talking about, even on the subscriber call, how they keep hiring more and more people to get expansions out faster or to make professions better. So I don't think this is going to be the last expansion if they're hiring all these people to work
I think
on the game. It's not like StarCraft where it's like, oh, the Legacy of the Void is done. Maybe we'll do Warcraft 4. Like, it's an ongoing thing.
Yeah, and I also think that World of Warcraft will, I mean, I think they'll make content as long as people are playing. And when you consider that, like, I think the next highest MMO has, like, 750,000 paying subscribers, give or take. Even at WoW's bad number of 5.6 million, still really good.
Yeah, also, if you dive into the financial reports more, they talk about how much actual money it was generated.
Yeah.
And when you look at things like the WoW token or, like, you know, what amount or pet or character customization goes for, like, all that stuff adds up as well.
Yeah. So I don't think that I wouldn't be concerned. I think they're coming out with new stuff for a while. What are your guys' opinions on the new Blizzard store mount that we know about? We finally got the moose we've all been waiting for. That's how I feel. I just thought it was gorgeous. Yeah. I thought it was a gorgeous mount. And
I thought it was a travel form at first. I'm like, oh, it's interesting to feature.
No, it's funny because I'm super excited for it for my more like I consider my shaman like a very naturey character and my druid a very naturey character. I'm definitely getting it. I like the Mystic Rune Saber, but I also don't like it when mounts leave like streaky things in the air, which I know is weird. I know that's an effect a lot of people like, but I don't know why. It just drives me crazy. So I didn't get the Mystic Rune Saber, but the moose is happening. The moose is happening.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about the moose, and also just sort of in the context of other mounts we're getting, like a recolor of the challenge mode only mount or the Wrath of the Lich King Time Walking mount. They all look pretty unique, and you know, like the moose is a unique store mount, but we're also getting some mounts that look pretty cool that you don't need the store for. So I think it balances out.
Yeah. We got another question that says, will you guys be playing Demon Hunters, and if so, what spec?
So, there's this, like, you know, my avatar and everything has always been a demon hunter. I've always really liked the idea of the class ever since my guild was going through Black Temple, and I got the Cursed Vision on something like our second kill, and then I read up on it and eventually got the Warglaives. And
Turk's been obsessed with Demon Hunters since back in the day.
Yeah, like my little like RP thing I would wear for, you know, for boss kills or like realm first things was always sort of this demon hunter look. So I will probably try it out. The one thing there are two things I'm a little iffy about it. I know it's kind of silly, but I have so many cool items on my rogue that I've been playing for 10 years that I'll be sad to lose some of them. So I have to do an inventory. And the second thing is I want to check the character customization options because like her pink facial like tattoos are very distinctive, and in all the previews they don't have any markings. So I don't know if that's gonna be weird.
That could just be early stuff though.
Yeah.
That could just be early stuff. It's funny, I'm actually leveling up a priest because I'm pretty sure that our main priest healer is going Demon Hunter. So I might dabble in one as an alt or something, but I like healing a lot. I played Elemental for a few years, a couple expansions actually, and my guild needed a healer like halfway through High Mall, so I switched, and I'm kind of really obsessed with healing. So I don't think I'll be raiding on a Demon Hunter, that's for sure.
Yeah, if anything, I'll just say is DPS because I've always been DPS, and so, yeah, no tanking spec for me, probably.
I'm so sorry about my dog. I don't know what his deal is.
Your dog is very excited.
I know. I'm really sorry. Like, he's normally, like, not this into squeaky toys. I think that means that I should probably wrap this up. I just want to thank everybody again for watching us every week and for following and for subscribing and all that good stuff. We will be back next Friday. Same bat time, same bat channel, 6 p.m. Eastern time. Bat squeak, though. 6 p.m. Eastern time every Friday. I hope that you're all having a wonderful day and a wonderful weekend, and I hope that you are as happy as my dog with a squeaky toy. We're gonna go. Have a wonderful day, guys.
Yeah. Bye.